Welcome back to Cosmeholics Anonymous. I am your favorite girl, Bo Vintage, and today I want to do a DIY. I have not done a DIY in a very long time, but I came across this cute ass little idea on Tumblr, and so I decided I wanted to execute it on my channel. I searched it on YouTube. There are like 100 videos of it already, but I want to put my own twist on it because everybody's outfit is kind of turning out the same, mainly because people don't really know how to sew. But I am going to show you guys the alternative, which would be to glue it, but not hot glue, because you want to use something a little bit sturdier than hot glue, something that can last in the washing machine and dryer, which would be fabric glue. I'm going to give you guys all the alternatives that you need, but the reason why I actually wanted to do this was because I didn't want to throw out this sweater. So as you guys know, I am like a lover of pink. However, my mother came here and she was cleaning my house and she was wearing this sweater while cleaning. No big deal. Until she decided to spray the counter with some sort of bleached substance, and she got bleach all over the sweater. And pink is not exactly cheap crew necks, okay? This crew neck I think cost around $60. I want to say maybe $50. Either way, it's a little pricey for a crew neck, and I was devastated when she showed me that she ruined my sweater. Thanks, Mom. Hi, how are you? But no worries. It's like God is on my side, because I was going to just cut the top off and then, or cut the bottom off and just wear it as a crop top because that's completely normal. But then I saw this little hack, and so I decided I want to do this instead so I'm not wasting material. But yeah, let's get started. So this is the sweater. I have a size small, but it is an oversized like crew neck. It says pink down the sleeves, pink across the front, nothing's on the back, and it is oversized, so it does fit quite large. The sweater is fairly new, so yeah, it was a little upsetting when I found out there was bleach on it, but it's okay. Let's get to work, shall we? Okay, so for this tutorial, you will need scissors, preferably fabric scissors. And if you don't use fabric scissors, you will struggle. So use fabric scissors. E6000, it is a clear adhesive, and you can use it to bond a lot of different things, but fabric is one of them, and if you wash your stuff, the fabric will still remain glued. It is a way better alternative to using a glue gun, and it's really affordable as well. You can get it at the fabric store or at the craft store like Michael's or something like that. You will also need a tape measure. That is optional because you can always just eyeball your waist size, but I prefer to work with actual measurements, so I'm going to work with actual measurements. Now, everybody else, basically, this is all they needed for their DIY. I wanted to switch it up a little bit, so I went ahead and grabbed some eyelets. That is for the skirt. Along with the eyelets, you will need, of course, some string to string your skirt, and you will also need a hammer. I don't have it right now, so I can't put it in this part of the video, but I will be using a hammer. So keep that in mind. Let's get started. So because I'm basically brain dead, I thought my camera was rolling and I'm the worst DIY person in the world. So basically all that happened was that I took my trusty scissors and I made an incision or a cut straight across the sweater, and so now it is in two pieces. This is going to be my top. The top is going to stay just like this. It's perfect, and we are going to move on to our trusty skirt. So the first thing you want to do is turn your skirt. This now becomes your waistband, and obviously this is a little wide. This is not going to fit me, so I do need to make one cut on one side. So basically, this is how you want your skirt to fit. We need to get rid of some of the skirt, obviously, because it does not fit, but it is supposed to be high-waisted. So we want our skirt to be about here. I'm going to cut it on the seam going this way. Or this way, it doesn't really matter. At this point, you want to get your measuring tape out, measure your waist and measure the skirt and cut it, but leave seam allowance. Usually with seam allowance, you want to leave 5/8, but we're gonna make this really simple and just leave an inch for seam allowance. It still looks like might be a little wide for me, but that's okay because I have seam allowance on there and I can adjust it as I go. So because we're working with eyelets, we actually don't really need our sewing machine, so that's a plus. But we do have some open seams here and we want to seal them off. And so I'm just gonna add a little bit of the E6000 to the inside of this, and I'm just gonna stick it down. Okay, so this is gonna be the trickiest part because eyelets are a little difficult to work with. You definitely wanna practice on scrap fabric before you get busy with your eyelets. I suggest watching a YouTube video specific to putting these in, but it's not that difficult. Once you get the hang of it, I'll show you on this scrap fabric. First, you want to make sure you mark where you want the eyelet. Okay, so I just marked the center right there. I use a permanent black marker. Then you want to take your scissors and you want to cut a hole, but just cut it large enough for the eyelet to fit in. These are pretty large eyelets, so you may need to cut a pretty decent size hole, but you don't want to cut the hole too big. You will just want the fabric to stretch around the hole. This part of the eyelet, so the part that sticks out the furthest should be sticking out of the wrong side of the fabric, not the right side of the fabric. So on the inside. So that's what the eyelet will look like through the clothing. Then you want to add the second piece of the eyelet on this side. And once you have it like that, you want to place your eyelet on your eyelet tool. Most eyelet packages will come with a tool. If not, you can just get the tool at the fabric store or even at the dollar store. And this is where your trusty hammer comes into play because you do have to hammer your eyelet closed. And so you want to make sure you're working on a hard surface. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. You want to actually just give it one hard bang. It's the middle of the night, so I'm actually going to bang this over on the counter. If you hammer it properly, your end product should look like this, and then you will be able to string it like that. What we're going to do is put these gold eyelets down the skirt, and we're going to string the skirt closed. Rather than gluing it or sewing it shut, we're going to add the eyelets. So when you're marking, you want to make sure that everything lines up. You don't want to have any of your eyelets janky. So they should all be equal in distance. And you can leave this open if you want to have a little split there. If you don't want it to close all the way, then you could just leave that open like that. So we're going to cut all of our holes. Okay, so that's how it should be looking when you're adding the eyelets. But you gotta do one at a time. I ain't trying to get evicted over some damn eyelets, okay? So once it's secure, it's secure. I actually need to bang it some more, but I'm gonna do it over on the counter. So I'm gonna insert all my eyelets and then come back and show you guys. Okay, so I got 6 eyelets in on this side, and then I am going to do the other 6 and then I will show you guys the skirt on. Okay, so at this point you want to try your skirt. I apologize if my skin is ashy, but it is what it is. What you're going to do, you're gonna make sure you have at least 2 to 3 inches extra of space so that you can create a crossover. And so I'm pulling the front of my skirt towards the back, and in the holes of the eyelets, I'm gonna take my permanent marker and I'm gonna place a dot in each of those holes. So one hole here and one hole here. These 2 holes overlap, so they're good. But there's no holes back here, right here and right here. And I need 2 holes there to put some string through. So I am going to mark those holes. Beep boop, bap bap. And then once I do that, I'm gonna put 2 more eyelets in, going diagonally, and then we're gonna lace our skirt up. Was that hard to understand? And so that is your finished product. I think I may add a few more bleach stains to the skirt and the sweater, just because the bleach stains on it are just unappealing if it's not all over. So I'm gonna add a few more bleach stains to finish it off. But this is basically it. I'm gonna try it on for you now. You can see how it looks. I hope you guys like this DIY. If you want more, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Okay, so as you can see, I've laced mine from bottom to top. So I inserted my laces at the bottom and I moved it upward to the top. And I also got some ruching and I got it to go on an angle. Of course, that wasn't the intent, but...
Hot cakes with the maple syrup. Come and get what you deserve. You know I've been craving you, baby. Turn your body to dessert.
And that is it. I love you all, and I'll definitely see you in the next one.